Hello, it's Gabby here for you. Before we jump onto this week's podcast, I just want to let you know about 2 ways that you can work with me. First of all, I do one-to-one coaching and I do that via Zoom, so we can jump on a Zoom call at a time to suit you. The second thing I've got for you is an online coaching course that's 12 modules that you can download straight away now. There will be a link somewhere around these podcast notes. And this is the course that I've designed, and it's got everything in it that I wish I'd have known when I finished cancer treatment and I was lost. So you can download that course now and you can start working towards making this your happiest and healthiest year ever. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello there, it's Gabby here from Confidence After Cancer, and I hope this finds you well. In this week's podcast, I'm talking about what you can do to overcome self-doubt, how you can stop listening to others, and how you can really start listening to yourself. And I've got 3 tips for you that have worked for me and have worked for people that I know as well. I just want to start off with a caveat that says what I'm about to share with you is not a substitute for medical advice. I'm not a doctor, I'm not qualified medically to give medical advice. I am a 16-year cancer survivor. I am a qualified confidence coach, so I can talk about mindset, I can talk about tips and tools and strategies that will help you overcome challenges. But please don't think this is a substitute for medical advice, and never alluding to that at all. The other thing I'd say is I'm very fortunate. I live in Manchester in the UK. I was treated at the Christie Hospital, which is one of the best cancer hospitals, I believe, in the country. And I'm not criticising the treatment that I had there either. They saved my life, and I am forever grateful for the wonderful staff and the treatment that I had at Christie Hospital. However, I've learned a few things along my journey, and I want to share them with you for what it's worth, and maybe some of this you can relate to. So, as I say, when I was first diagnosed, this is when self-doubt really kicked in for me, and I really lost confidence in myself. I was walking around, as a lot of us do, with a few niggles, maybe not feeling on top of the world. My energy was maybe a little bit low. I certainly wasn't expecting a cancer diagnosis. It was a real shock to me. But once I got over that initial shock, I really was determined to follow the advice given to me by my doctor, do everything that he said. But I think on the second or third appointment that I had with him, I went with lots of questions. I always had lots of questions for him. And one of my questions was, what about nutrition? What should I be eating while I'm going through chemotherapy? And he just looked at me and sort of waved me away and said, oh, it really doesn't matter what you eat. And that kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I thought, really? Because that didn't fit in with what I believe. You know, I'm not a medical expert. He was the expert, but I'm an expert in me. And also for years, I'd had a passing interest in nutrition. I'd watched these programs like You Are What You Eat. And I know that people can turn around medical problems. Maybe not cancer. I'm not alluding to that, but I'm saying I do know what you eat affects your health. It's got to do, surely. My husband at one point had very high cholesterol, and his doctor wanted to give him drugs to bring his cholesterol down. And fair play to him, he just went away and did his own research, and he found out what he should be eating and what he shouldn't be eating, changed his diet, and he's brought his own cholesterol level down. And I know people that have done that with diabetes and other conditions as well. So as I'm saying, I'm not saying my doctor was wrong. What I'm saying is I think there's 2 schools of thought when you get a cancer diagnosis, or any illness really. You can follow your doctor blindly, follow what he says to the letter, and just do exactly what he says and really defer to him. And I think for an older generation who always held doctors and professional people in high esteem, there was this unquestioning, you've got to do exactly what they say, you can't possibly question it. At the other end of the spectrum, I think there are people who are quite cynical and think, I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories, you might call them, but who think that there's other things going on here. And also, the doctor is not the expert of you. You are the expert on you. You haven't got the medical training, but you know yourself better than anybody else. I like to hedge my bets, and I've got a foot in both camps. So I went with the medical treatment. I followed exactly what my doctor said. I had the chemotherapy, I had the mastectomy, I had radiotherapy, and I had reconstruction. At the same time, I privately went and found a nutritionist and worked with her on changing my diet. And she recommended lots of things, lots of little changes that I could make to my diet. Nothing too drastic. There was no elimination of things. It was more adding goodness into my diet. It was more about drinking more water. It was more about less processed food. So it was all good things. There was nothing too extreme in what she was recommending, but I really wanted to give that extra step to supplement the chemotherapy, which, is tough. If you've been through chemotherapy, you know how tough it is. And I wanted it, to have a successful outcome. At the time, my chances of survival were not great. I did what they tell you not to do, and I used Dr. Google, and I found out, inflammatory breast cancer's got a poor survival rate. It's getting better, and I'm 16 years on now, and I'm still here with no evidence of disease. But what I'm saying to you, I went on my own journey. And part of my own journey was I started reading lots of books. I went to seminars and heard speakers talking about cancer and wellness and nutrition and what I could do for myself. And one of the most interesting people that I went to listen to was a guy called Philip Day. And he has written a book called Cancer, Why We're Still Dying to Know the Truth. And it is quite a controversial book, but the basic premises of how you can keep yourself well are nutrition, getting enough, the right nutrition, looking after yourself. But Philip said one thing, and it was probably 15 years ago when I went to see him speak. He did a tour, he came to Cheadle near me, and he said, remember, the doctors are your servants, not your masters. And as I say, I'm not here to challenge what doctors say. I'm not here to give anybody medical advice. But sometimes just remember, they are not the experts in you. You are the experts in you. And that's hard to sometimes have that confidence to feel like that when you are full of self-doubt. So what can you do to bolster your own self-worth and your own self-confidence? As I say, I've got 3 things for you that I want to leave you with. First one is to follow good energy. And what do I mean by that? Well, I've just spent a weekend in a social event with people who uplift me, who make me smile, who give out good energy, and it's just a pleasure to be around them. And when I'm with them, I relax and I'm more myself because I feel free to be myself because I'm not being judged. I'm feeding off their energies. And conversely, before, back in the day, I've worked in toxic work environments where I couldn't be myself. I've had relationships sometimes with people where I had to be really careful what I said to them because it wasn't good energy. And so I'm really mindful of that now. So I follow good energy. And on that note as well, when I got my cancer diagnosis, I joined some online cancer groups. And some of those are great and full of helpful advice. And some of them are really full of doom and gloom. And I kind of get that cancer is scary. And unfortunately, some of the people were really sick, but also there was a lot of negativity and I really didn't need that. So in my Facebook group, Confidence After Cancer, you won't find any negativity. I'm not Pollyanna. I know that bad things happen to good people. That is life. Life isn't always fair, but I'm always there to spread what positivity that I can and try and uplift and inspire people as well. So my second tip would be practice self-compassion. Easy for me to say. And so what does that mean? Well, be kind to yourself, give yourself a break. And I've been guilty of this in the past. I've been really, really harsh on myself, going over and over mistakes that I've made, going over and over when I've said something that I shouldn't have said. We're human. We make mistakes. We mess up, but forgive yourself. Think about somebody that you love who makes a mistake. You can forgive them, can't you? And you can move on. But sometimes we find that really hard to do for ourselves. It's a hashtag be kind. Well, how about just being kind to yourself? Give yourself a break, practice some self-compassion, and remember that you are enough and you are worthy. I know you are. And the last thing I want to leave you with is trust your values. And I've talked about this before. Everybody's values are unique to them. For some people, their values are love, joy, happiness. It may be security some people really crave. That's important to them. Whereas other people may think, no, freedom is really important to me. There's no right and there's no wrong. It's what's right for you. And so trust your values. Be true to yourself. Don't let anybody else put their values on you. And if you struggle to do that, it's one of the tools that I use when I'm coaching people is to help people really hone in on, well, what is your values? What is important to you? Because once you've got that sort of foundation for any decisions that you may need to make, if you know what your values are, it's a lot easier to refer back to, oh, well, yeah, that fits in with my values, so I'm happy to do that. I hope that makes sense. As always, this is part of what I teach, and this is part of what I support people with. I have an online course that you can download. There'll be a link to that somewhere around these podcast notes. I also do one-to-one coaching with people as well. And I get a lot of personal satisfaction from that, from seeing people on their journey, from helping them find themselves. As a coach, I don't tell anybody what to do, but I'm here. It's a two-man sport. I'm here to be their cheerleader. I'm here to support them living their best life, being the happiest and healthiest that they can be. And so if I can help you in any way, you've got a question for me, reach out, ping me a message, get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening. It absolutely means the world to me. Have a wonderful week, and I'll speak to you very soon. Stay safe, stay sane. Bye-bye.